We now welcome back to our program Juliette Fairley, our finance analyst, here today with important tips for avoiding foreclosure. Juliette, after a year-long reprieve from rising foreclosures, it seems that things are changing a little bit, huh?
Yes, we have a 3% increase in January in the national rate of foreclosures, which is a result of the fact that there was a settlement of $26 billion between the 5 lenders and the 49 states attorney generals. So now that that's been settled, foreclosures are going to be back on the rise again.
Wow. Now, you've got some tips for people on how to avoid foreclosure. I know that the government's got a program for homeowners to try to, keep their homes. How does that work?
Well, you have state programs, you have federal programs. There's also nonprofit programs like Hope Now. But the most important thing is not to panic if you're in that position. Don't panic. Look at where you can cut back expenses, hopefully half. And sell big ticket items, for example, cars or washer dryers. You can always get another one later. You can go into your retirement account. There's going to be some penalties, but better to have the penalties than lose your home.
But is there ever a case where maybe you should, like when you have one of those mortgages where you put a little bit down and then it's all mortgage basically,
when
so you're just losing a small deposit.
If you have one of those mortgages, you want to refinance it as soon as possible before you get behind in your payments, before there's any kind of bankruptcy or missed payments. You want to refinance these kinds of mortgages. The best mortgages are those that have decreasing payments over time. So you may be paying more now, but then next year you're paying less, and then the year after you're paying even less.
A particular name, that type of mortgage?
I'm not sure the name of that, but I know that you want to stay away from reamortization, negative amortization, interest only, option arms. Option arms they give you a teaser low interest rate, and then it goes up later. Yeah. So those are the 3 that are really difficult when you start to miss payments. It's really difficult to grab your home back. So you want to stay with a standard mortgage that the payments get lower over time.
Okay.
Now, on the flip side, for people who are already on the way toward foreclosure, there's modification.
Yes.
But a lot of banks have been refusing to do that.
Yes.
Have they changed their approach?
Well, it depends on your lender. And you definitely want to go to the lender and say to them, okay, this is my situation. If you've lost a job or you're divorced and you have a permanent financial hardship, go immediately to your lender, to your bank, and say to them, what can we do? How can I lower the payment? And then you can ask for forbearance, which would be temporarily from 6 months to a year. You can skip a payment or you can lower the payment. So there are ways to avoid foreclosure. It's just a matter of speaking up, because so many times people, they get frightened. They don't want to deal with it. They go into denial. This isn't happening. I'll catch up. I can handle this. And really, if you're starting to miss a payment, the first payment is a clue that you're in over your head.
Yeah. Plus, people probably don't realize that you can go in. And is it something you can or should do alone, or should you bring a lawyer with you? What would you recommend?
Absolutely, a lawyer is always helpful. You want to start out seeing what you can work out on your own. And if you find out that you have a difficult lender, then you might want to seek legal help. Hopefully you didn't sign up for one of those fly-by-night mortgages.
But of course, if you can afford a lawyer, why not plug that money into the payment?
Exactly. Well, this is why you want to go through the foreclosure assistance programs. So that you can avoid foreclosure. There are programs that help you to avoid it. So you've got the State Housing Authority, the Department of Housing, you have HUD, you have FHA loans. So before you even get there, you can look into resources that can help you avoid that. But most importantly, don't buy a home that you can't afford.
Right.
Because then you're going to wind up house poor.
Well, now, there's another part of this equation, and some people experts are saying, well, look, let it go. If you can't really afford this, let it go. And before your credit and the rest of your life goes down the toilet.
You mean let the house go walk away?
Sell it. Yeah, definitely. If you're on the verge of bankruptcy, sell it. And that way you get a better price on the home, and you also save your credit standing. So if you're about to go bankrupt, that's before you go bankrupt, and before they start foreclosure proceedings is when you would want to sell the home. And it's not an easy decision to make. But it's better to make something, cut your losses and get some cash back so that you can go and buy a home that you can afford, than to completely lose everything.
Right, right.
Now, bankruptcy versus foreclosure, which is the lesser of the evils, I guess, or hurts your credit more?
Well, they're both pretty sad situations.
you wanna
you
avoid
can,
both?
if you're at bankruptcy, try to avoid foreclosure.
Okay.
So if you're at bankruptcy, you can avoid foreclosure by selling before you get to foreclosure.
Right. And doesn't bankruptcy stay on your credit report like 10 years or something
Yeah,
like that?
it's pretty bad. I mean, you know, you can live, of course you'll live, but you'll always have that on your credit report, that you claim bankruptcy, instead of doing the honorable thing of paying back your debt. And there's all kinds of ways to pay back your debt. So there's really no reason for bankruptcy unless you have gone off on the deep end and you've charged millions and millions of dollars. Then you need to see a therapist.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
On that note.
Juliette, thanks much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Really, very, very good tips for a lot of people. Because sadly, you know, this situation is just ongoing.
Yes,
You know?
It's not over.
It is not over.
Yeah.